G'day guys, and welcome to another episode of CreatorCast. I am Jay Boston. We have Scotty, give us a wave.
Hello.
Yeah, there we go. We have Ben on, and we have Mr. Black, Mr. Danny Black. So today we are talking about the best way to time lapse. Time lapsing is something that a lot of people do to do their intros, outros, or just to give people an overview of where you are, or even a transition between different scenes. So let's start with Mr. Benon. I know you choose to use your iPhone a lot, and you do zooming on your time lapses too. So give us an idea of how you do it and how you set it up.
Sure. I use my iPhone as well as my iPad to shoot time lapses. Now, I also use my GH5, my Panasonic GH5 to do time lapses. That's a different thing than the iPhone. The iPhone I just put on its spot and hit record in 4K, and then I speed it up in post. But the GH5 has got a lovely time-lapse feature in it, which records frames of photos, JPEGs, and then stitches them together into an outputable movie file. That's really, really handy. As far as the settings go on the iPad and the iPhone, it's all on locked exposure and locked focus. Otherwise, if you're shooting like I'm doing a lot of sunsets for time lapses, and if you're shooting a sunset, you don't want the aperture and the shutter to change, because then the sunset theoretically won't happen. So I lock it all off. Very simple on the iPad. You just hit and hold, and then I also just drag the exposure down slightly before I start, and then that's good to go. But on the GH5, which I've got down here, it's a little bit different. You're setting everything in manual before you go, and you're setting it into time-lapse mode, and you're hitting go, and it basically starts an automated system of taking photos every whatever you specify, and then it bumps this video file out at the end. Pretty rad, I got to say. How
do you mentioned
find sorry, go.
If like this time lapse feature that you've got on the GH5, I think you said.
Yep.
How do you find clipping it together in post? So do you try and suit a certain amount of time for your time lapse? Like if you just want the time lapse to go for 5 seconds, or do you just
not at all.
Look at it and figure out what the best speed is?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'll do a time lapse. Say if I'm down at Culburra Beach, I'm doing the sunrise. I'll do the entire sunrise until maybe it'll last for 2.5 hours or something, and then I'll probably just take the bit that looks the best. For instance, it's already done, if you like. So it's already an outputted movie file, and you just dump it on your timeline in Final Cut and just crop the bits that you don't need. Sometimes I'll change the speed again. Maybe I'll double speed it in Final Cut so that it's actually double what it actually was. But yeah, it's usually pretty good to go as it is straight out of camera. Pretty rad. Makes it a lot easier. Speeding up a file. Yeah.
Sorry, man, I'm cutting you off.
Sorry. No, you're good. You're good. I'm done. Scotty.
Yes, Scotty, how do you do it?
I just use my iPhone. Plain and simple. It's pretty crazy. I mean, it actually blew my mind the first time when I flicked across in the camera and saw time lapse. I was like, yes. It just makes life so much easier. Because I've tried to use a GoPro before, and I just found it like I don't use the GoPro very often, so I don't know the ins and outs of it all that well. Danny could probably answer that a bit better. But yeah, just seeing it there and having that there, and basically I just use a Manfrotto tripod, just that one there. It's about $40 tripod. It's just set it up, hit the button, walk away. It's as simple as that. I have done some just like setting up my camera, just a Canon, setting it up, just hitting record and walking away, and then just speeding that up later on when I'm editing it. But I just don't think it looks as good. I mean, it's so easy to do on the iPhone. For me, there's no substitute.
Can I just jump back in there, Scotty? Sorry, you're using the iPhone on time-lapse mode, which is awesome. And the only reason I don't do that is because it doesn't do it in 4K. It'll only do it in 1080. So that's why I don't do it. But yeah.
I think we touched on it a couple episodes ago that I haven't uploaded anything in 4K yet because the internet in Melbourne is horrible. So at the minute, it's all 1080.
And in terms of Mr. Danny Black, what do you do when the time lapse is actually recording? Are you on social media, using your phone? What do you do while you're waiting all this time for your time lapse?
He's on Candy Crush. Candy Crush, surely.
Scrabble.
He's so much far ahead of me on Candy Crush. He has to be doing it then.
I'm going to say this out right now. In a couple episodes, I'm going to delete Candy Crush on on this show in front of everybody. I'm going to delete it.
I'm so close to chasing you on that game, man. Like I'm like about 100 levels lower than you. I want to beat you.
That's all right. Let's get out of there. All right. What am I doing? Okay. Well, first of all, I use the GoPro for my time lapses. The reason, I use it for other things as well, but it's got a great 4K time lapse feature that stitches it all together. It's got a built-in. This is the GoPro 5, and now they have the 6, which looks so good.
4K 60. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. That slow motion looks so great. And I'm not ready to get it yet because I'm wanting to buy the iPhone X, and that has the same thing. So you might as well spend the money where. All right.
Very true.
I'm going to just say that I'll set this up. Usually I'll do a lot more time lapses when I know I'm going to be somewhere static for a little while. Like if I'm out eating lunch with some friends, I will set it out and get the streets going by the cars going by on the street and, just kind of stuff like that, like people walking by. Like it's if I know I'm going to be somewhere where I'm not doing anything for a little while, the airport especially, you're sitting there waiting for your flight to take off. I set this up somewhere. It doesn't matter what you get, but it really, like if you watch my videos, you'll see, you want to see that airport footage, and the fast part makes, like, you understand why. You're like, oh, he's been there for a little bit, or this, I've seen this before, but it's so quick. It's the perfect like amount. You don't want to see 10 minutes of being at an airport. You just want to see that like quickness of it because
the passing of time.
The passing of time.
It's a good way of showing your day sort of go, rather than just being like, hey, it's 2 o'clock or whatever, and now I've been here for the last 5 hours sort of thing. Yeah, it's a good way of showing your day goes by.
Yeah, especially if if you went from, if you're vlogging your whole day and you went from the office to home, but you forgot to vlog anywhere in between, and you just do like a time lapse of the sun kind of setting, then people understand, oh, it's later on in the day. Like that's the storytelling part of it.
Exactly, and I think what we'll do too is while we're talking over the next couple of questions, we'll put some of our own time lapses over this, and we can show some of like the best things that we've done together. So we'll send them in. What were you going to say?
I've got something here I want to show as well. This guy here, this is part of a motion slider. The other part is in this bag, which I'll get out as I'm talking, but just a little a way that I add motion to my time lapses is to use this guy, this motion slider. It's a bit of a convoluted thing to set up. This is by a company called Revolve. Now, I got this as an endorsement, and I can't really say it's that great, so I'm not really going to endorse it, just because it takes so much time to set this thing up. But essentially, once it's set up, you got this piece sitting on here with this thing, and then the whole thing is on a timer motion that slides up and down this thing, this slider. And basically what that means is your time lapse then has motion. You can either go forward or, Danny's got a similar thing there. These things are great, but they're cumbersome to travel with. And that's the problem I've got with this Revolve one. So that's how I do motion in mine. Danny, you use an egg timer or something on yours sometimes?
Well, let me just do a little history check. So I started off with this, it's maybe $6 to $8 at Kmart. It's a water sprinkler timer, and nice. You can hook your GoPro up. You could even somehow makeshift it so that it's like put your phone on there. And we'll roll the clip of this. I did this on a cruise ship recently.
Oh, the ship leaving Sydney.
The ship's leaving,
awesome,
and it's turning at the same time.
Yes.
All right, yeah. So the clip's
playing
right now, so that's good. I didn't use this for
ironically,
that,
you just said before that. You said before that you do your time lapses where you're still and with like in a stationary place, but the best ones you do is on the boat when it's moving.
Yeah, that was the coolest.
It looks awesome.
And so anyways, I started with this thing, which is great. It's waterproof, so you can use it anywhere you want to use it. The only problem with this is you can't stop the timer automatically. It's got to run its course.
Around and around.
It's got to run its course till it's the end of the hour. So like you take this on a plane, and they hear some kind of live ticking thing. It's a little uncomfortable. So then I switched to the GoPro. GoPro actually came out with one that was like $24. It wasn't that bad. And cool. So it'll actually do the same thing. The problem is it only goes one direction of a spin. Yeah. So unless you want to get really creative with how you hang it upside down and do it like that, that's the other one. And then when going into the slider thing, I bought this for like $110 on Amazon, $110 American on Amazon in America. And the problem with those
what brand is that there, Danny?
You know what? I will. It says G. I forget what it was. I looked it up. It was a good price, and I was like, let's just do it. I'll give a good. I'll give a creator cast review on this. It is good. It's good, and I agree with what you're saying. That those sliders, like when I bought it, I had this mental picture like I'm gonna do this in New York and do this in New Orleans, but when you set something like that up, you can't just I mean, actually, it's not that bad of a cumbersome like to put together, but I'm scared to death someone's going to come and steal it or take it or knock it over because you're taking up more space than just, this sitting up on a little thing. You're killing your rental space of how you do it. So I'm really sorry. That was like a very long-winded question.
There's a company called Endochrome that make a really good motion slider, and I've been frothing at the bits to get one of these.
Is that the one that's been that they advertise on Facebook and? Is that
they're advertising everywhere. They're all over the place. Pre-roll ads a lot of the times are from that slider.
And they're super expensive,
it's such
right?
a beautiful. Yeah.
That's what I saw.
But if anyone has an Endochrome and they want to chime in with how it works, and if it's any better than the Revolve motion slider, that'd be pretty cool to hear.
For anyone on a budget who's vlogging on a phone or anything like that and can't afford $40, whatever it is, $50. My first tripod I ever used to shoot time lapse was my shoe. I literally took my shoe off, put it on the ground, let my phone up against it, and took the photo.
Between the tongue, put the tongue out and slide it in.
And
beautiful.
Just quickly, Benon did a review. Go watch that one. I'm going to do a review on vlogging with your iPhone and little hacks that will be coming out soon. So hopefully in the next, it might be out by the time this episode comes out. I don't know yet, but I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sort of jotting all this down.
And the other good thing is...
we haven't heard from you yet, man.
Yeah, the host.
Me? Yeah, like when I first started doing not abandoned buildings, when I first started doing time lapses, I would just set it up on the tripod, put it on manual, and just shoot. And for me, I always shoot 5 minutes. That's all my time lapses are. And then I put the raw footage into Final Cut Pro, and I choose the speed that I want. Normally it's 5,000%. That's the setting that I put in. Speed it up. And if I find that it's too fast, then I'll slow it down to maybe 2,000%, whatever it comes to, and I do the seconds. When it comes to motion, though, my first motion time-lapse device was an egg timer from IKEA. And I think it's like $6. So you just wind it up. It does go in one rotation. But what's good too is it's only got an hour on there. So you could rotate through 360 in an hour. So you put it there, put your GoPro on, or you could strap, like with a bit of balancing, your digital SLR, and it will rotate 360 in an hour. I did that once, but I got bored and never did that long. I don't know how you do it, Ben, on like 2.5 hours sunrise, like far out.
Candy Crush.
Sunrises don't take that long.
Candy Crush, man.
But that's what I can see in terms of the time lapses. But let's talk about how you set the frame for a time lapse. Like, let's talk about a still focus. Like, do you always want to try and have something in the foreground and the background just to make it a bit more interesting, or do you try and have something that you know will be in the shot that will move, or you're just hoping that something will happen in that area? Like, what do you do, Danny? Do you always try and set something up that you know will happen?
Yeah, and actually, I saw there's a little young vlogger that I follow, and his name's like Brock Vlogs or something like that. He traveled to the Ayers Rock in Uluru, and he climbed up to the top, which was a great feat. Like, what a great experience! And he did the timer on it, but there was no clouds, so it literally looked like he just went like he could have just turned. He could have literally turned around. It's like people don't understand. Like, you have to have something moving. You have to have clouds. You have to have people. You have to have cars. Something has to be moving in the foreground for that
it's kind of like viewers you have to understand. Have something that moves really, really fast in the foreground, and something that moves a little bit slower in the background.
The sun would work too, I guess. But yeah, you have to have something that people see as mainly static, moving faster. So, like, yes, when you're in a desert with nothing, you can't just. I was just exactly. I feel so bad. You stand up there for like 45 minutes to get the a big round thing, and it's just
crazy.
Back on the subject of shooting still photos instead of video, another reason why I do that is For things such as like waterfalls and whatnot, if you're going to do like a nice, slow, silky looking waterfall, you just can't achieve that with video. You have to shoot at such a slow shutter speed. So you have to shoot still frames that are an individual photo at, like a fifth of a second or something. Same with nighttime lapses. If you're doing the Milky Way, and I do that when I'm in Culburra quite a lot, I'll do like the beach at night, the Milky Way, and like maybe the moon or the clouds. I'll chuck a few of those in over the top here so we can see what I'm saying. But you have to do that as a photo. There's no other way to do it. So still photos at a slow shutter speed, at a high ISO.
Like that was like your first time doing it, right? Like that looked really good.
Yeah, I've been experimenting with it to sort of put it into the vlog, because I've taken long exposure photos before, as in individual frames. So like maybe I've taken a frame that's been exposed for like an hour and a half of the Milky Way, and you literally get one photo from it. But what I'm doing with the vlog is I'm stitching all those together at a smaller interval and trying to make the time lapse of the sky, which is only possible with still photos. You can't do it with video. So.
And Scotty?
Yeah, when I do it, I do try and give something as the sort of main vocal point of it. I don't do a lot of time lapses myself, probably one in every sort of 4 or 5, but just watching either you guys or other people that do it, I think it makes it more enjoyable to watch if there is something that is stationary or something moves around it, or even something that's really slow moving that moves quicker. I live in a pretty sleepy part of Melbourne, so there's not a lot of stuff going around me. But just out the back of my house, there's a giant tree, and I get a really, really good sunset facing out that way. So often I'll just stick the tripod out there, the Manfrotto tripod, iPhone on, and just have the tree stationary with the clouds moving over the top. And I think it makes it more enjoyable to have something that's stationary, or a building, or I just think it makes it easier.
Perfect.
I agree.
Well, I think that pretty much covers the time lapsing with a little bit more information in there.
Can I just ask before we jump on a little, Scott? Can you just lift yourself up a little bit? Look at that!
Look at that!
Did you see that, folks? He's wearing my merch. Can you believe the love on CreatorCast?
It's missing is the balls.
Where do they get it from?
The balls.
It's missing the balls, from last episode. If you like the shirt that Scott's wearing and you want to support my channel, you can go over to my channel. There's a link to my merch store there in the description of all my videos. Thanks, Scott. You are a champion of a man.
As I've said before, I was a fan of this man before I got to know him, so it's kind of weird sitting here now and talking to you.
Whoa!
Thank you,
Scott. I'll send you one of my shirts then. All right.
Done. All right. That's fine.
It's very true. Danny's I've got one of yours, Danny.
You have mine and you've never worn it, Benin. Thanks a lot.
The NSD. It's in the NSD pile. It's going to be there sometime.
I am working on my own shirts coming soon, and hats. I've got my own hats coming out too. So
nice. And I got nothing.
I want a hat.
I'll send you
a shirt as well.
People that are watching now can get a sneaky peek at what's coming up on NSD on my channel, because I am wearing the new shirt day. So let's just keep that down off camera.
What? I want to see it. I want to see it so bad.
There we go. Well, I think
playing at home. If anyone likes music, Band of Skulls, great band. Sorry, continue.
No, you're right. I think that covers off our time-lapsing how-tos, and I really appreciate everyone watching. Is there any final things anyone wants to talk about with time-lapsing? They're all good?
I think we covered it, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're pretty good. Yeah, and again, thanks very much for watching. Give a big wave out, and keep watching, subscribe. Tell your friends about our little group.
Jay's got to announce a host for next week.
Ben's always over the hosting thing. He's so good at that.
I'm German. I've got everything up here. It's like this schedule just slotting.
Wait, me? What? Me?
Yeah, Danny Black, you're the boy.
Yes.
Yeah, you're the host.
All right, excellent.
Beautiful. All right, well, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.